practice, and it's always enjoyable. I'd like to make it more, but a lot of times that you're having the meetings, I work a lot at night, so I'm not able to make it, but I got lucky this time, which is why I accepted in advance, because I knew I'd be free.
Okay.
So thanks.
You're forgiven.
And Sage too. So who knows about Transcendental Meditation? That's what I'm here to talk about. Yeah, I overheard you. You said you practice, or you used to practice?
Yes, I still do.
Oh,
But I still have the same mantra
from way back.
a long time ago, and I heard that they're supposed to fine tune you and get another one? I don't know. No? Okay.
What's available to you, once you learn TM for the rest of your life, you can get your TM checked anytime for the rest of your life. All you have to do is call the local teacher, wherever you are, anywhere in the United States, and say, I learned TM, and I'd like to get my meditation checked. And that is a procedure where the teacher will ask you some questions, you meditate together, and you find out if you're doing it correctly. If you're not, then the correction is made. So, that's great. Yeah. So TM is, what about TM? Anyone have any questions about TM? We can start it from that level, or I just start talking, and then you can ask questions anytime you want.
I just want to make a comment.
Yeah,
Say
sure.
that I've been participating with the New York City School of Philosophy for 2.5 years, and I'm going to get my mantra in 2 weekends from now in
For the
Rock Hill,
TM people?
New York.
Which center? The Medicine Avenue? TM Center?
No. It's from the School of Practical Philosophy in New York City.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I know, but that's very good. Good for you.
So I'm going to go get my mantra.
Okay. So
And I
TM,
understand that it's a process and it's a ceremony. And
yeah.
I'm
Do you have a
going-
question, or are you just telling me that
No,
you're
they're
doing
not
it?
they're not telling, I'm just sharing with you that I'm just embarking
Oh, that's
on
very good.
this process.
It's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you find, like, after studying how many years, I don't know your story yet, but do you find, like, socially, like, you're on a different level? Do you feel like you're more at peace, like, with the world?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
And that's why TM works, because the mind wants to go to a state of peace. And TM gives the mind a technique that allows the mind to settle down within itself to experience final levels of thinking, more quiet levels of the body. And as such, the magic of TM happens with the rest. Because the research shows that TM gives a level of rest deeper than sleep. And while you remain alert and awake, so your eyes are closed, you're sitting comfortably in a chair like any of these seats, and you don't have to sit in any particular way like other systems of meditation. Just comfortably upright, because it's a state, it gives you a state of restful alertness. So at the same time you're getting deep rest, you're alert and aware of your surroundings and your body.
I have a monkey mind.
We all do.
It's like I'm always active, and it's like, you know, I can never be calm.
Yeah, and that's how they describe it in the ancient literature, as a monkey mind. Because the mind is always looking in the wrong direction for the peace and happiness. We do things to make us happy on the outside world. But it really is true. The ancient scriptures from the various traditions all say the same thing. From the Bible, I think it's the New Testament, or the Old Testament, the kingdom of heaven lies within. And so many expressions like this. We're made in the image of God. That's another, from Luke, I think. One of the books. And so we're children of the universe, as Christine teaches us and knows. And man has been programmed to think that we're not, that we're separate, right? And this gives us the authority and the larger thinking to exploit the world, because we're separate, and it's there for us to use and exploit, pillage, whatever. But it's not. So I want to draw a diagram of the ocean. Who likes the ocean, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. There's waves. Here's the bottom of the ocean. And here's the top. I'll just separate the top from the bottom. with that dotted line. So it's really busy at the surface, right? And as we go down, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and quietest. You've seen this diagram before, haven't you, Elise?
No, we had, something a little different,
Okay. But similar, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, some people represent this concept differently. So this can also represent the mind. At the surface level, the monkey mind is very busy, and we all want to shut it off. But as we go deeper in the mind, it gets quieter. And this is what separates TM from other meditation techniques. I'll show you. Like we have, for instance, I'm going to step aside once in a while so you can see the board too. We have concentration techniques, right? And you hold your mind on a thought, an object, an idea, and you concentrate on it. And what that does is hold the mind in this surface level of thinking. Then you have contemplation techniques. And the same thing, it's linear thinking in this surface level of the mind. Then we have mindfulness. And these really all are mindfulness techniques. Mindfulness is when you're being mindful of what you're doing, how you're sitting, how you're eating, how you're talking, how you're in any way engaging in the world, right? And that means you're self-monitoring, you're watching yourself. That takes work, and it's done in a waking state. So again, that's all up in this area. Not to say there's no value to any of these things. There's value to all of this. And then we have progressive muscle relaxation. I'll just put PMR up here. Anyone ever do that one? It's when you, for instance, the way I learned it is you would scrunch your toes up, make them really tight and tense. And then you would let them go. Relax and feel the tension release. And get a sense of what tension is and what relaxation is. And then you work up the body, like your whole foot, and then you involve your calf muscles and everything below your waist and the viscera and all down. Before you know it, when you're done, everything's being scrunched, and then you let go. And then you feel that release, and there's some value to that. It gives you some body awareness, really what it does. And maybe relax you a little bit too. Then we have breath control techniques, breathing techniques. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with pranayama. Any yoga people here practice pranayama with the nose, with alternate breathing? Yeah, it's good. Very powerful technique. And these things can provide some level of rest with the hope. You see there, this is all effort. All these other techniques are using effort to get to this peace down here. I'll use the infinity symbol. Why? Because at the source of our thought, there's an unbounded consciousness, open and awake to itself. And we are all expressions of that consciousness, different, each wave of, we're a wave, and we represent an expression of that pure consciousness, but we all share this at the source of thought. This is pure being. Being means not doing. And so we have another thought control. That's another technique, right? People try to eliminate thoughts from their head. And who has ever tried that? Swami, you probably have, because you just told me. Right, everyone wants to get rid of the white noise, the junk.
Yeah.
So here's how TM works. We mentioned mantras before. It's a good thing. So in TM we use a mantra, and I'll just use this bubble, this circle, to represent a thought. And TM uses a mantra, which is what? A thought. What's a thought? It's a word. What's a word? A word's a sound. What's a sound? A sound's a vibration. Everything, physics tells us everything is a vibration. Right? So it has an effect. Who saw the movie Jaws? Everybody, right? Remember when the town was up in arms at the big town meeting, and everyone's wondering, how are we going to save our summer? 2 people were eaten, killed by a shark, and everyone starts arguing. The police chief wants to shut everything down, or shut the beaches down. And the business people don't want to do that because they'll lose business, and they all depend on the tourism and the summer season for their incomes. So, in the back of the room, Captain Quint, remember him? Played by Robert Shaw. He's sitting on a chair, like one of these chairs back in the room, and he's right next to a blackboard. And he scrapes his nails against the board. And everyone stops. Why? Because it was irritating. So that's an irritating sound. But there are other sounds that aren't irritating. And there are some very nice sounds that are most pleasant to the mind, and some of them that are very conducive for the mind to want to experience finer states, so we can find this pure consciousness at the source of thought. I'll just use the initials P, C, sorry, infinity symbol, I. Pure creative intelligence at the source of thought. Mind wants it. So the ancient rishis, who knows that word, rishi? Right. Rishi is a Sanskrit word. It means seer or knower. Sanskrit's like the original language. Seems like all the language groups around the world, almost all of them have Sanskrit roots. I don't know if you knew that. Swami probably knew that. It's really ancient, from this very ancient living tradition. That's what this is from. The most ancient living tradition there's known. So this is one of the features of TM that I like a lot, Transcendental Meditation. It's time. It comes from an ancient tradition that's been taught the same way. That's one thing. And these sounds, these mantras, were cognized by the rishis. And the way they got their information from was the level of pure consciousness. So they would meditate, and then knowledge would come to them. And this is how the great scientists of the world, a lot of you probably read this, like Tesla and Einstein and Newton and others, they would get their ideas in intuitive flashes. This is how the rishi, and we have the scientific method, I'm going to get into that in a second too. But that's how they got it, and they cognized these sounds. That's how the whole Vedic literature was cognized. They actually heard the sounds of the Ved, the ancient rishis. That's how they got the knowledge, and it was just this, it's all sound. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi is the one who gave us TM. From India, in 1958 he came out, and his idea was, he came out of the north, the Valley of the Saints, Uttar Pradesh, right? I think it is, Uttakashi, Uttar Pradesh, I get mixed up with my Uttars. No offense to India. And he decided he needed to come out of India, and his idea was, I'm going to spiritually regenerate the world. Why? Because we're all in this Western mindset, and it's all being commercialized and westernized, and it's all out here, all up here. But we really need to go in, find the gold and the pearls and all that, and then come out and enjoy life like this. So these sounds, these rishis cognized, and they have a technique, a very easy technique. So Maharishi describes TM as simple, natural, and effortless. It's simple because it is. It's just using sound in a very particular, easy way, and the whole teaching of TM is designed to show you how easy it really is. And you should get your meditation checked on these.
Okay.
Occasionally it's a very good idea, because what we're so in the habit of doing is trying. Effort, effort, effort to get to a goal. This is complete flip of that whole thing. But anyone can do it. That's the good news. Oh, I can't keep my mind still. I can't sit still. I hear that all the time. And then after they do their first meditation, the new students will say, I can't believe I was able to sit here for that long. Did you have that experience, something similar to that?
When I was taught, well, first, it was close to 40 years ago. And it was a week class. And the end, he taught us how to meditate. So he brought us in a room and gave us, individually, and gave us a mantra.
Right.
And when I was listening or repeating it in my mind, I kept opening my eyes. He said, what's the matter? I felt like I was going down in an elevator,
Exactly.
like really fast.
Yes.
And I kept catching myself, like it was a little scary in the beginning. And then I got into it, but yeah.
Right. That's what people do. We stop ourselves. We stop the mind because we doubt it. So this is systematic teaching to teach you how to do it. So you need 4 days in a row to do it. And then you come back in 10 days. And then anytime you want for the rest of your life. But usually people go, got it. And then if they get out of the habit, let's say, then maybe you had a couple of weeks you didn't do it, and then you go,
yeah, it was.
or even years.
It was years. It was years on and off. And then there was a time that I meditated for 2 months, and when I stopped, I really noticed the difference.
Yeah.
But for the past 4.5 years, I have not missed. I can't.
Because you feel better, right?
They call me ADHD.
Yeah.
So I actually, this is my medicine.
Yeah, and thank you. So this allows the mind, the mantra, and the right use of it to systematically experience, as you're saying, finer and finer levels of thought until we can even transcend the finest level of thought. But it's not about going down here. That's what the mind wants, but that's not our objective as, you know, as someone with an ego. Our objective is to follow the procedure. Whatever happens is natural and good, and that's exactly what we need at that time, given the state of our nervous system. So we get exactly what we need, but this is in the direction the mind is going when we do TM, and it happens automatically without any effort. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
No effort whatsoever, because if you do an effort, it's like you're going on a hill in a car and you're just drifting down like you would do when you're going down the elevator, and then you can put the brake and go, wait, what's happening here? You know, so it just wants to go there, and it's peaceful. And it was your first time, it was unfamiliar, so sometimes it can be a little stressed and you perceive it as a little scary, but as you know, there's nothing scary about it, because that's why it works. It wouldn't work if it was scary. It's because it's so natural. And as you learn the technique, that naturalness becomes more obvious and more apparent, like, oh, I get it. Oh, yeah, I understand more now, and so on, like this. So there's the elevator ride. Mantra gets fired all by itself and can even disappear, and we're left with awareness open to itself, pure consciousness, or being, capital B, pure being. So that's that part of it. And what this gives, as a result of having this experience of quieter levels of consciousness, concentration improves, clearer thinking, because we're really controlling the mind this way, but we're not doing it, it's doing it all by itself. Isn't that nice? This is what attracted me to it. I was through with trying, through with it. I want to get into my story too. So we become more mindful. Why? Because you're more aware. And you're more aware because you're more clear. Why? Because you're getting rid of stress. Stress is the big killer. Stress makes everything worse. We all know this. You become more myopic, tunnel vision, but when you're more relaxed and at peace, everything opens up. The field opens up to you. I think of traveling in a car. You go in a nice, beautiful countryside, and it's like, this is great, it's beautiful. And then the next day you're riding on the same stretch of road and you're on a bike. You go slower, but you appreciate more. Now you're running it, and then you're walking it, and suddenly you're stopping and smelling the rose, and you go, oh my God, look at this beauty here. Every detail of creation. That's awareness. That's an example of how this works. So the mindfulness comes automatically. You become more mindful of how you feel after you eat. You become more mindful how you relate with people. But your behavior with people starts to improve automatically by itself. Everything happens automatically by itself, which is what I love about it. Bless you.
Thank you.
When you meditate, the breathing comes under control automatically. The muscles come under control automatically. They're all trying to do what the TM gives, the deep rest, and as a result, all these other things improve. But the big takeaway thing here, the big point is deep rest. Really quickly, deep rest gives the body and mind a chance to get rid of stress that's stored in the body. We all watch the hero movies, right? We've seen them. This group is probably not so interested in violent movies, but you think of the Rambo movies or the Die Hard movies, and the hero is just pushing through with injuries. And it's not until the whole crisis is over they can feel the pain, and now the body's in healing mode. You see, it's in fight and flight mode. The sympathetic nervous system, that's the fight or flight. We perceive tigers all the time because of a lot of stresses, which is why Maharishi came out of India and started teaching us. Because the whole world's stressed out and breaks out in societal stress. What's that? War, crime, accidents, all this type of thing. Any questions?
Yeah, like right now the energies, and I know Christine can validate and expand on the energies of the planets in the universe, because yesterday we had like a black moon, and I'm sure you can expand on that because it's kind of rare. So
You
the
mean
energies,
a new moon? Is that what you mean?
yeah,
It's
like
the second new moon in 1 month.
Oh, really?
yeah,
The black moon.
the forces are very, very different,
Moon's in
and
blue.
I'm sure Christine can expand on it. So I'm really interested in hearing about the energies of the universe, but I think with the elections, there's a lot of tension politically because there's so much competition. So I find this more necessary right now and needed more towards the elections because it feels like everyone's vocal on social media, but there needs to be more of an inward, going inside and, because the reactions are, it seems like a lot of tension out there, and
Yep.
it's kind of like we need to really be at peace with ourselves, and I think that's why this is so essential right now.
It is, thank you for that. And that's why Maharishi came out of India in the first place.
Mm,
It was the need of the times, he described it as the need of the times.
yeah.
And so
What was the need?
the need is stress.
No, what was the need?
Same. Just put us, how long have we been having wars forever? I mean, World War I. I mean, look at all the empires going all the way back and, oh gosh,
So
that's
was it-
all history's all about.
So it wasn't a unique time, it was just,
Westernization of the world changed.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you for that. It was an acceleration of globalization.
I see.
And when you have outside influences to a culture, Western culture, and now these influences going in, it tends to disrupt the culture. But if you have stability in a culture, with something like TM, it gives people the awareness to integrate new information and new knowledge, and then this results in only the positive being integrated in as opposed to chaos. Great question. And thanks for helping me out with that one because it's
You
true.
said it earlier.
This is Maharishi, and this is why it came out. Good. So where were we? Okay, so we have this fact that it's from this ancient tradition, which gives us it's self-knowledge, by the way. It's knowledge of the self, and Maharishi calls it his new framework of understanding, this relationship we have as individuals, individual waves on this ocean of consciousness, to this cosmic level of our existence, our being, that we all share. He calls it the science of creative intelligence, SCI, which used to be taught on most of the college campuses all around the country. And for credit, actually. Maharishi's Science of Creative Intelligence, yep.
When you get down to the bottom, is that like what I've heard as the oneness?
Yeah, absolutely. It's integrated, pure intelligence, pure consciousness, unbounded awareness, an unchanging absolute value of life. And I'm going to get into how this compares with modern physics. It's really interesting. So, science of creative intelligence, this understanding of pure creative intelligence and our own individual awareness, and TM is the technology of this, of consciousness. It's a Vedic technology of consciousness. How we can expand our horizons, literally. You know the beach. You go to everyone likes the beach. We said this, and I have a theory on this. This is me talking. I'm a big beach lover. I always have been. And I noticed that. And tell me if I'm right here, folks. When you go to the beach, almost no one's fighting. It's like zero stress. Right? Think about it. Right?
I have a thought on that. I've been thinking about that too.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you've seen the movie Grounded,
I don't think I have. No.
but when you're at the beach, you're in the sand, you're
Yes,
grounded.
I know about that. Yes.
You're grounded to the earth.
I've had some
It's also
wonderful
where
experiences.
Earth, water, and air meet.
Yeah.
It's an intersection point there.
Right, and it's
Three-dimensional
unbounded.
in one spot.
And the soothing sound of the ocean too.
It's so many things, but for the purposes of this analogy that I'm presenting to you, the unbounded feature of being at the beach, this edge, and everything's open, right? It looks like it goes on forever. You look at the horizon, it's open, and that is satisfying to the mind, and that's what attracts the mind out here, to that unboundedness. It's satisfying, fulfilling. So where was I going again? Okay, so this is the science of self, subjective knowledge. And this system was developed a long time ago. On the other side of this equation, I'll make this an equation. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. You don't have to believe any of this, and I'm going to sum it all up and tie it all together. But and give you the whole takeaway thing. But, oh, let me get rid of this too. So this is subjective knowledge, subjective science, and I'll just put a dividing line here. And this will be objective, right? And in modern science, we have physics, and what do? They follow the scientific method, right? We're all familiar with that from high school or college, depending on our likes and dislikes, what we remember and don't remember. In America, we tend to stay away, we shy away from sciences, and I did. Until I got in the workforce, and then I started studying the physics and the chemistry and all that stuff. So, objective science, you study objects, right? Whether they be planets or apples, Newton, right? I wonder if that really happened. Did the apple fall on Newton's head? Did it? I don't know. But it serves a good example.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Well, how else did he wake up? I thought that the apple woke him up. Wasn't he sleeping?
Well, that's
and
the
apple
story.
woke him up? Had to be that.
That's another one. Very interesting.
Maybe
So-
he was dreaming.
Maybe he was dreaming. Whatever the case may be, he was proposing explanations for the movement of objects. And gravity became his theory. Because the apple falls to the ground, how? And then Einstein capitalized on that. But the point is, they study things, they observe, they draw conclusions, they make a theory, and then they test the theory, and then they go, okay, this one works best. This is what we're going with, and we're going to teach it in school, so that's that. Isn't that the way it works?
Yeah.
So that's objective science. The scientific method, this is Western science objectivity. And physics, let's see, Einstein gave us E equals mc squared, simple, elegant. But then, I don't know if you all know this, but gravity, the basic force fields of life. And that has been, this is totally accepted by the scientific community for a long time. Gravity, the strong nuclear force, that pulls the atom together, the nucleus and the protons and the subatomic particles, right? That's the glue. Then we have the weak nuclear force. That has to do with radioactive decay. And then we have electromagnetism. And these things are invisible, right? But we know gravity works. I could just drop this pen. Gravity, it's invisible. Electromagnetism is invisible. How do these things go on? You know, remember the experiment in grade school with the iron filings on a paper, you put the magnet underneath, you could see the lines of force? Yeah, we know it's there. We know it's there. Einstein said, I think they're all unified. And he called it the unified field of all the laws of nature. Unified field, UF. But he couldn't prove this. He spent half his career, half his life trying to unify this. But now they started unifying these forces. First came electron-weak unification, and then came the, what do they call that one? The grand unification. They brought in the strong force, and now they think they got gravity. I can't write so good this way, a little squiggly. And they call this super unification, where all these force fields that Einstein talked about, they're saying he was right. That's the point. They're saying he was right, that there is, and they still call it this, unified field of all the laws of nature. Everything comes from this field. Singularity or oneness, as you said, right? And the home of all the laws of nature. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi also went to Allahabad University to study physics. So he had this knowledge. He's a scientist in both areas, knowledge of self, and they call this, Swami, you know this one, Atma down here from the Sanskrit. It means soul is one interpretation. Right backwards. Now I know what lefties feel like. Strange. And he says, well, this consciousness that we all have at the source of thought is equivalent to the same as the unified field of all the laws of nature. That's interesting. Because we all know that somehow these things have, these coincidences happen in our life, right? And we become aware of it and you go, wow, that funny? You make a decision, you're clear on something, and this is spiritual laws all the great thinkers have thought about. Norman Vincent Peale, Power of Positive Thinking. Napoleon Hill, anyone ever read Think and Grow Rich? That people have vision boards now. Be clear on what you want. Why? Because the universe is going to deliver it. Think of it like an order. You go to, if you're not clear, you ain't going to get it. You're going to cancel it. Why? Because we doubt it. Think of going to, oh, what a terrible example, but just for kicks, McDonald's. Right, you drive